Well, here with some analysis of the election is French journalist Albert Leconte. We were just talking about your last name, and now I want to mangle it. Sorry about that.
Leconte.
Yeah, that's the one. Let's start with Nicolas Sarkozy. Now, this election seems to be about his popularity. Essentially, I've read some comments here. He has been referred to as vulgar, money-obsessed, racist, even dangerous. People are talking about Sarkophobia. Yep. Why is he so disliked?
Well, because basically he's promised a lot of things, 5 years ago, and he's delivered pretty much nothing as far as the French citizens are concerned. So they've just had enough. He seems to have basically helped his rich friends, and portrayed himself as well as pretty wealthy. The bling bling president he's been called, and
with a glamorous wife.
With a glamorous wife, and bear in mind there's a financial crisis and people are, not earning as much as they used to. They're struggling, and here he is in his palace having the good life. So, of course, and that's just in a nutshell, but, we can go into details, but basically that's why, people have had enough, because also he promised a lot, and 5 years ago, France needed to change. It didn't, and he promised a lot to change the country, and nothing really changed. So they've had enough. And
it seems there's been a real push in terms of revisiting some of those old ideas, favouring more socialist, policies in terms of the economy, taxing the very, very wealthy, and those sorts of ideas.
Yeah, I mean, in this campaign, you mean?
Yes.
Yes, that's basically it. I mean, from my point of view, it's very much a campaign that was fitting, for a few years ago. It's not actually addressing the issues that people are actually wanting to address. And so, as you say, yes, they've been revisiting old issues like security as well, with the Toulouse massacre. That worked for about 2 days for Sarkozy in particular and Le Pen, but then people went back to their everyday life, which is about how am I going to put food on the table, and these issues haven't really been addressed, I would say.
Now, if it comes down to a runoff, which seems likely, then it will be Sarkozy versus the socialist candidate, François Hollande.
In all likelihood.
It appears that Hollande would be the favourite. Who is he? We don't really know much about him.
Well, he was, that's basically his problem as well, because of course the Socialist Party was relying on Strauss-Kahn, and we all know what happened to him. So they had to struggle and find somebody else to replace him. And basically Hollande was the head of the Socialist Party for many years. He hasn't been and his detractors say, he hasn't been in power, he hasn't been in a government, he hasn't been prime minister, he hasn't been a minister, so he doesn't have much experience. But he does actually have, and bear in mind that somebody like François Mitterrand, he was basically the head of the Socialist Party for a long time before he actually became president. Hollande wasn't in the limelight, but he actually does have quite a bit of experience, but more as the head of a big party, in a bit like maybe Tony Abbott, except not from the same side.
But he almost seems like the antithesis of Sarkozy.
Yeah, absolutely. He's very calm, collected, and that's what he wants to portray. Of course, he doesn't want to be seen anything like Sarkozy. He's taller than Sarkozy as well, and he doesn't need special shoes to look taller. Yeah, that's right.
But he's also got Jacques Chirac on side.
Yes, actually, not. Jacques Chirac's wife Bernadette sided with Sarkozy, but the rest of the family has sided with Hollande. So that actually tells you where France is at the moment. They're sort of torn. They don't know where to go, and certainly voters, are still sort of wondering who to vote for, I think.
And is this going to be decided by those on the extreme left and the extreme right?
Well, yes. In again, typical French style, you have the two main candidates. You mentioned Sarkozy and Hollande, and then you have a number of lesser candidates, mainly 2, 3 candidates, including Le Pen, the daughter of Jean-Marie Le Pen, and they are credited. You were mentioning the ratings for Hollande and Sarkozy, but the latest ratings for Le Pen and Mélenchon, who's on the extreme left, is basically 14% for each. So that's quite a considerable amount of voters. So yes, it will be decided in the end in the second round. The 2 weeks between the rounds will be all about trying to get the votes from all the lesser candidates.
Is there anything that Sarkozy can do in his favour at this point?
Well, he did it. He did it on the Place de la Concorde a few days ago. He said, "Help me." He said, "Please help me," and that was pretty desperate, I think, coming from a guy who's portraying himself as being in the lead, as being strong. He actually said to the people in front of him and millions on TV, "Please help me. Help me get the votes," because at this stage, he's probably the only one believing in his victory. Apparently, people around him are starting to say it seems to be over, but he's the only one saying no, I can win that.
Okay, Albert, well, you've got to go and vote, haven't you?
Yes, I'm about to vote.
Okay.
I've got the little things to vote.
Don't let us stop you.
Good luck with your decision. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.